Hello everyone and welcome back to Rogers Reports. I am your host with the most Aston Villa content on YouTube. Call me Rogers, and today we are going to be continuing our chopping block series, looking at our midfielders. We have 11 Aston Villa midfielders to go through, a couple that you might have forgot even existed, which we're still paying big salaries for. But nonetheless, we are going to be going through every single player and knowing, should we keep them 50-50, should we loan them, or should we sell them? And then we're going to be looking at all their stats as well to back up my claims. But also, I'd like to hear your comments down below on what you think of these 11 lads. Have I got it wrong for any of them? Please do let me know, because I'll be very intrigued to know if you have a different opinion. I love hearing all the different opinions down below. And thank you for all the support on the last one. I think it got 1.5k views, a lot of engagement in the comments as well. But we are about 95 subs away from the big 3,500. So before we get into the video, leave a like on it so that it hits out there to the algorithm. Comment for the algorithm. And then, to make the biggest community of Aston Villa legends on YouTube, why don't you hit the subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you don't miss any Aston Villa content on the Rogers Reports channel. But without further ado, let's get in to the tier list. And here is said tier list. You can see the 4 categories we are going to be splitting these 11 players into. But let's just have a quick run through of all the players that we do have to look at today. We have Youri Tielemans, Boubacar Kamara, I don't really know how to say his name. Ross Barkley, Amadou Onana. His name is not Andre, mate. John McGinn, Philippe Coutinho. Yet we still pay this geezer like 6 figures a week to go and play in Brazil. Emiliano Buendia from Argentina. Marcos Asensio, should we keep him from the loan? It's going to be that one. Jacob Ramsey, who I'm putting in the midfielder category because I think he's a bit more of a midfielder than a winger for me. Enzo Barrenechea, who is currently on loan at very high flying Valencia in La Liga. And then Leander Dendoncker, who is still on our books, yet we're probably still paying him about 80 grand a week, who is currently back in Belgium on loan at Anderlecht, I think. So we're going to go through all these 11 players, starting with Mr. Youri Tielemans himself. Let's go and have a look at his stats before we put him in a category. First up, we have my Aston Villa player of the season, Youri Tielemans. There's no real explanation that's needed for this heroic man. 7.42 average rating, 3,000 minutes played, 3 goals and 7 assists for Villa in the Premier League this season. You can see there, apart from that Crystal Palace game, he's been pretty influential in every single game that we do play. He's always there, he's always in the right place at the right time. And you'll see a sea of green when we look at his stats for this season. 3 goals, 7 assists. All of the stats are fantastic. 86% pass accuracy, 62% long ball accuracy, 25% cross accuracy. That's better than most of our fullbacks and wingers in this Villa team. 31 successful dribbles, complete 63% of said dribbles. 2,500 touches of the ball this Premier League season, 44 of them coming in the opposition box. He's won 56 fouls, he's won 57 tackles. Nearly 70% of his tackles he does win. 192 duels, 60% of those being won. 24 aerial duels, he's only been dribbled past 33 times this season. 145 recoveries, 12 blocks, 12 times he's won possession in the final third. He's been an absolute colossus, and he definitely is my player of the season. The stats back up why he should stay. So you've seen the stats. I mean, headlines from the stats, right? 7 assists, 3 goals in the Premier League, and that's just the Premier League alone. Also high flying in the Champions League, got a couple of goals there as well, a couple of assists in the Champions League. Look, this guy, Youri Tielemans, for my money, is my player of the season. Right, easily. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't win Players Player and Supporters Player of the season this year. He has been an absolute revelation. He's been our best player by a country mile, and I think probably one of the best free signings in recent Premier League history for what he has done for Villa since he came in on that free transfer from Leicester. He's only 28 years of age, so he still has a couple of good years in him as well, and I suspect he will just go from strength to strength. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind Youri Tielemans should be at Aston Villa and a starting player next season. We can't replace what he does for the team. His passing ability, his passing range, his football IQ, his football brain. It was a big blow. That says the most about a player. It was a massive blow when we found out that Youri Tielemans was injured. No one liked that news whatsoever, and we all thought this could actually really massively hinder us in our push for Champions League football. When a player has that type of impact, you know exactly how important they are. There's talk of the Saudi League possibly wanting Youri Tielemans. I can't remember which team it is. I would reject all bids. He ain't the type of player that you sell. He's so important to this team. I think him now is more important than Douglas Luiz last season, and that's saying something because Douglas Luiz was massive for us. I think Youri Tielemans, even bigger. He makes this team tick. He makes this team flow. He better be an Aston Villa player come first game of the season next year. And then we move on to generally, again, he does play in that number 10 role a little bit, Youri Tielemans, but generally his partner in crime in that defensive double pivot, we have Boubacar Kamara. Now this one may surprise you when we look at Boubacar Kamara's stats. The 1 goal against Spurs, 25 games, 19 starts, average match rating of about 6.84. Played about half the minutes, or just over half the minutes as Youri Tielemans. If we go down though, there's no stats that will particularly stand out yet. The 88% pass accuracy, very, very good, very, very nice, but only 50% on the long balls. Only wins 47%, or only completes 47% of his dribbles. It's even worse for the tackles. 42% tackle success ratio, only 21 tackles. 50% of his duels won. He's been dribbled past 6 times less than Youri Tielemans in 1,500 less minutes. So that's quite concerning. And he just hasn't really set the world alight in terms of stats this season. Now I know that Kamara is a player that when he's on the pitch you realise how important he is. But with the contract running down, could it be an option to get rid of him and cash in? Now you've seen the stats and it makes it a little bit of an interesting one with Kamara. Yes, he's got no goals, he's got no assists, but we all know he's an eye test player. He's not a statistic player by any stretch of the imagination, and we all know how good he is. We all know how important he is to this team defensively in that DM role. He's always the player that's back. You know, if Youri Tielemans is playing alongside him, Tielemans will go, Kamara will stay. He generally actually comes into a right back position to allow whoever's playing right back, i.e. Matty Cash, to get forward, do a Cruyff turn and then pass it back to him. But he is a very, very defensive player. We all know that. But he's brilliant. We know he's brilliant. Now, he only has a year left on his contract. His contract runs out in 2026. Apparently, we have started talks with him. Now, this is going to be this is probably my first controversial one here, but I'm going to put him in 50-50. And that's purely because the last thing I want is for him to run out his contract at Villa next season, not sign the extension, then we lose him for free. I do think, as good as he is, he could be replaceable to this team. There's fantastic defensive midfielders out there on the and obviously I want to keep him. Let me just preface this with I want to keep him. If the contract talks are going well, there's no way we should sell him. But I don't want him running out that contract and going for free, especially with how FFP is constantly breathing down Aston Villa's neck. The club should be getting a feel for whether or not he is going to sign that new contract. And if he's not going to, we need to get rid and at least get a little bit of money for him. We can still get a decent amount of money for him. He's still young. Was he 25 years of age? But again, in an ideal world, we keep Kamara. But I'm just a little bit worried about that contract. I think out of everyone in the midfield, he's more replaceable, to be honest with you. And look, I love him. I just want to put that out there. I love him. But that contract really, really worries me. And I just don't want us losing out on loads of money because we just don't get our shit in gear, pretty much, But moving on, we have Mr. Rostaffer Barkley. Coming back from injury this season, let's have a look at how he has done. Almost surprised me a bit. Mr. Rostaffer Barkley with 3 goals and an assist in just 3 starts, 19 games in the Premier League this season. Only 562 minutes played. And his stats aren't too bad. Some that stand out, 75% dribble success ratio, 60% aerial duels. He wins. The 86.5% pass accuracy, that's the same as Youri Tielemans. 60% long ball, it's the same as Youri Tielemans. We go to his per 90s because again he's not played that many minutes this season. 100th percentile for goals, 94th for expected goals, nearly 100th for shots on target. His assist is in the top 80th percentile. Successful passes, top 87th. He creates 1.44 chances per 90. His dribbles are right up there, and his touches in the opposition box, even his tackles there. His interceptions are really high, blocks really high, recoveries really high, barely gets dribbled past. He'll be an important player next season if he can stay fully fit. Mark my bloody words. Actually, as you can see, not terribly. 18 games, 3 starts, but 3 goals and an assist is the headline, right, for Mr. Barkley this season. Also got a goal for us in the Champions League, a massive goal for us against Leipzig in the Champions League. And look, he's come back from injury, he's 31, he's still got a year left on his contract. Let's not beat around the bush here. There's no reason to sell him, to be honest with you. He's a good and very passable squad player. We're not going to get a lot of money for him whatsoever, just due to the fact he's 31 and stuff like that, and he's not setting the world light anymore. And I think once he's fully fit, he could be a very, very important cog in the Aston Villa wheel. And there's just no reason to get rid of him at this point. We're going to need squad players. We're going to be playing a lot of games next season. 4 competitions confirmed again for next season. And the type of player like Ross Barkley is, he will be ready, as long as he's not injured, to play in any of those games, and he can play a multitude of positions as well. Those utensil players, I'll probably call them, because not utensils, utility, that's the one I was looking for. Players that can do a bit of everything. He's still got that bit of class in him. We know he has that bit of class in him. He's never going to lose that. Get a full pre-season behind him, full fitness again. He will be ready to go again next season, I believe. So there's just no reason to get rid of him in my view. Which brings us on to our next player, our £50 million man, Amadou Onana. Well, has that £50 million been well spent in his first season at the club? Let's have a look at the boys' statistics. And well, what a couple of games this lad has just had for Aston Villa. Really starting to come into his own with 3 goals and no assists this season. 25 games, 19 starts, pretty much the same amount of minutes as Boubacar Kamara. In fact, his starts, his matches and his minutes almost mirror Kamara quite nicely for the comparison as we go down to his stats. But he does have the 3 goals, the 2.12 non-penalty XG there as well. No assists, to be fair, but an 88% pass accuracy, so again quite similar. 100% cross accuracy. Let's go. Why is he not in the box for them? 9 chances created for his teammates. A long ball accuracy of 58%. A dribble success ratio of 81.2%. It is really hard to get the ball with him when he gets trucking, let me tell you that for free. I've seen that in the Bournemouth and Spurs games firsthand in the last week or so. 13 successful dribbles, a tackle success ratio of 52.8%, but the duels 62% won, and the aerial duels 60% as well. I think he's had a fantastic first season, blighted by injury, but he sure as hell is coming back with a vengeance, and I think he's going to be very important to Villa next season. He's been fantastic the last 2 games. In fact, if we can get those last 2 games there, 7.7, 7.8, absolutely brilliant. Love him. Can't wait to see him at the club next season. As you saw, it's been a bit of an up and down season for him. He's been injured for a lot of the season, carrying a little, I think it was a hamstring or something, muscular type injury, which got him in and out and in and out. But when he's been in the team and been consistent, I think he's been very, very good. Got the 3 goals this season, only managed the 18 starts. I think that will be up to 20 by the end of the season, because I'm filming this before the Tottenham game, so 2 games left. But when he has played and got a decent run of games, I actually think he's been very, very good. And also, we've just spent £50 million on him. And he's only 23. He's only 23. He's starting to come into his own. I think that performance against Bournemouth was probably one of his best in an Aston Villa shirt. He really started to show shades of a world-class midfielder, and I think he's only going to get better, and with the likes of Kamara and the contract issues, it'll be stupid to get rid of him. I think he'll be an important cog again to the Aston Villa. Well, I'm going to keep on saying that because it's very, very true. And what does he add? 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is, a bit of physicality in midfield, a bit of an aerial presence, which is always, always needed in the Premier League. He absolutely should stay at the club, no doubt in my mind about that. Onana should be here for next season, which brings us on to Captain Fantastic. We've got McGinn, and are we going to keep McGinn to the next season? Well, let's have a look at how he's done this year. Mr. Super John McGinn, the 30-year-old Scottish meatball himself, 33 games, 26 starts, 2,168 minutes played, a goal and 4 assists to show for his efforts this season. If we go down to his stats, you can see the shooting side of things. I think he'd be disappointed with that. To be fair, he usually gets a bit more involved up in front of goal. But, 68.8% pass accuracy. It's pretty much bang on with the rest of our midfield. 31 accurate long balls, a cross accuracy of 25.9%. I like to see that. I want those in the higher percentiles. A dribble success ratio of 60% as well. We know, like Calvin Bassey said, he can hold the world off because he's that strong. Really hard to get the ball from him, and that is shown this season. Won 68 fouls because he just backs into players, then falls over effectively. But that's by the by. Now this is where I was really, really impressed when I was doing this video and a bit of research for it, is that the tackling of John McGinn this season, his defensive contribution has been off the charts. There's a reason he's called Super John McGinn around B6, and those stats might just be it. And again, not the best season for him. A goal, 4 assists, only managing 25 starts as a captain. It could be slightly worrying. Is he going to retain that captain's armband? I don't particularly know. Probably though, I would imagine. But this is one that it's floating between 50-50 and keep. Or it was before I filmed this video, when I was trying to sort of plan out where each player's going to go. And it's a tough one because he is our captain. He does put in some really, really good performances, but he also puts in some stinkers sometimes. But he seems like a good person to have around the club. And for that reason, I'm going to keep him in keep, at least for a couple more seasons. He's 30 now. He'll be 31 next year. The experience, he knows what it means to play for Aston Villa. He's been with us since the Championship. And he just keeps on getting better. And Emery seems to like him. He's another player as well. If you need him to, he'll play right back, left mid, right mid, centre mid, defensive midfield, attacking midfield, up front. He can play anywhere, and those players are really, really important. Again, especially when you're going into a season where you know you're going to be playing in 4 competitions. And I think, this season's been a bit of a struggle for him at points. I think, but the last time he had a bit of a struggle in a season, he came back and was one of our best players. So you can just never really count him out. And I don't think you can count him out again. I think he should probably stay at the club because he's not a leech as well. He's not a leech. He worked bloody hard. But talking of leeches, do you like that little transition there? It wasn't obvious, was it? Let's have a look at Philippe Coutinho. Still at the club, still getting paid probably a ridiculous amount of money. But how's he doing over in Brazil? Philippe Coutinho. Please leave my bloody club, will ya? 6 games and an assist for him in the Brazilian league. Do we even care about this? It's the Brazilian league. The level is so much lower and below the Premier League, Yeah, fantastic stats. Brilliant. 15 shots and no goals. Just get him out, man. He's a leech of money at the moment. He's doing all right. 8 goals in 39 games. 1 assist, no goals in 5 games in their new season, which has already kicked off. I just can't believe that this guy, 32, he'll be 33 next month. He's still getting paid a wage by Villa. Look, this is the obvious one, right? Get rid of the guy, please. Please get rid of him. I don't know what we have to do it, but just get rid of him. Get rid of him. Nothing else to say. Get rid of this guy. God, we know that Aston Villa are so bad on our wage percent, our amount of revenue to how much we're paying player wages. It's because of stupid Gerrard signings like this one that we're in that predicament. So he has to go. Now, next on we move to Emiliano Buendia. Let's have a look how he's doing for Bayern Leverkusen this season in the Bundesliga. Emiliano Buendia then, this is going to be a hard one, isn't it? He's got that option to buy at Leverkusen. 11 games over in the Bundesliga on his loan. Started 3 and got 2 goals for them. Stats-wise, that's still at the Premier League. That's why that's not showing up. If we go over to the Bundesliga here, he's been so limited with minutes. I mean, hey, we can tell he's a bit of a bulldog. Look at all those percentages. His aerial duels percentage always cracks me up because he wins so many and yet he's just so small. If we go to his per 90s though, you can see actually per 90 his goals is right up there with the best of them in the Bundesliga this season. His successful passes right up there with the best of them per 90. Chances created, his dribble success, his dribbles per game, this is per 90s rather, his touches, all of his defensive stats are right up there. So a pretty successful loan spell for Emiliano Buendia. I just don't know, are they going to take us up on the loan to buy option, and is it something that we need the money? I don't know. So yeah, not really setting the world alight on this loan. Only the 2 goals, only the 3 starts in the league. They do have a buy option in there. I think he's playing all right over there. Like, I don't think they seem to dislike him as a player. Personally, I'm kind of hoping they take us up on that buy option. He's 28, he's not getting any younger. And if we can get a decent amount of money for him, then why not? Why not? If we can get the money, if the money's there, the money's right. I don't think he's going to be getting back into the Aston Villa team anytime soon, especially because of the next player coming up. And I just think, like, we need to make money. There's been a lot of talk that we need to make money this season. I've loved Emiliano Buendia when he has played for the club, but I just think his time has come, unfortunately, to an end, and we need to just cash in whilst we can and thank him for his service. Now, why would he not get into the team? Well, let's have a little look at Marcos Asensio. And there's a lot of chat about this man right here, Marcos Asensio. 3 goals and 1 assist in 700 minutes in the Premier League. 12 matches and 8 starts for Villa. 8 goals overall for Aston Villa, though, in this loan spell. It has been very, very fruitful. Has started to fall off the pace just a little bit. You can see no goal involvements there in his last, 10 games or so for Villa, but nonetheless, he has really shown his class. And again, this is more of a per 90 stat here because he's only just come into the team halfway through the season, and he's been getting fleeting appearances here and there. Per 90s, they're all very good. They're all in the green for shooting. The ones that matter are in the green mostly for the passing attributes. His dribble success ratio right up there, 100th percentile. Wins a lot of his tackles as well, to be fair. There's a lot of talk that it is going to be extended, the loan, or it's going to be a permanent option. And I think he's shown that he's just a classy player. And Emery clearly likes him. Emery clearly has a plan for him. So who are we to bloody say no? So there you have it. 3 goals in the league already for Aston Villa. It's not too bad. Obviously, all the other goals in the other competitions. Now, would I sign him on a permanent deal? Is the question coming out of looking at those stats. He's 29 years of age. He'll be 30 next season. He's on a massive, massive wage. If we can negotiate a decent loan for the wage that he's on, I would happily take it. Now, there was a talk when he first signed for Aston Villa that there would be an option for us to just extend his loan for another year. With PSG, they'd be happy with that. And if that's an option, that's probably the option I would take rather than signing another player to a ridiculous wage bill. Like it would be. He's on upwards of 200 grand a week, I'm sure, at PSG. But if we can negotiate a deal where maybe they pay 30%, 40% of that wage, he comes back to Aston Villa on loan for a small fee for next season. Having him in a European competition is second to none, right? That he's an experienced player, won the Champions League 3 times, won the Liga, won Liga, and why can he not help us get a trophy next year? He's having a little bit of a downward spiral after a really, really good start. But again, that's just getting adjusted to the Premier League, I think. Players come into the Premier League, they have a fantastic start, then they have a little drop-off until they find their feet. I think he's just waiting to find his feet, and I think his feet will come very, very soon, and I'd love to have him back on loan for another season at Aston Villa. Now, what about one of our own, Jacob Ramsey? Let's have a look at how he's done this year. It always hurts more when they're homegrown, but a goal and 3 assists in 28 games, 1,600 minutes played. So this compared Jacob Ramsey to the likes of Onana and Kamara. Again, obviously, it is playing a bit further forward than that left mid, left wing role. 23 years of age. Now you can see he's been average at best, really, over the past sort of couple of features. But you look at the stats here, he's got the 86.7 pass accuracy, but the rest of it, 16.7% cross accuracy for a winger is absolutely abysmal. 21 chances created. His dribble success is okay, actually, right up there, 67.6%. Has won a penalty this season. 15 tackles, wins 50% of his tackles. His duels won is right up there, but again, aerial duels, 38%. He's a big lad as well. They're just not the kind of stats that set the world alight, and if there's a PSR deal to be happening with Jacob Ramsey, I just don't know if we would say no. So again, not fantastic. 3 assists and a goal, average rating of under 7, which is kind of like the benchmark for playing well in a season. 19 starts, a red card in a vital game for Aston Villa as well. Now, before we put him in a category, I want to say that it's been confirmed by some pretty reputable journalists that Aston Villa need a big PSR sale, just like we have to do with Douglas Luiz, before the 30th of June. And Jacob Ramsey is my pick. There's always been the talk that Newcastle are interested in him. A deal upwards of 40 million being discussed. That is pure profit because he's an academy product. And if we can reinvest it elsewhere, I think because there's that English tax, the young English player, the tax is insane if people want to buy him. I just think we could reinvest the money a lot better and a lot smarter. I like Jacob Ramsey. I think he's a fantastic player. But if we need to do that PSR sale, for me, he is top of the list on that chopping block to be the one to go. And I just think we kind of have to do it. The money speaks for itself on this one, unfortunately, JJ. Look, if we can manage to swivel our way around that PSR, why not keep him? But for me, let's reinvest the money smartly. Yes, this PSR and pure profit from academy players is killing the game. But if it's killing the entire game, we need to get with the times and we need to do the best that we can at exploiting it. And this could be a good chance to do it. Enzo Barrenechea, really, really good season for Valencia this year. 1 goal, 2 assists in Spain, 24 starts, 28 games, an average rating of 7.07 as well. He's been used well, he's been used fleetingly, but when he does get in 90 minutes, he's generally right up there. Right up there. So like I say, the goal, the 86.5 pass accuracy, 60% long ball accuracy. Again, I'm thinking Youri Tielemans numbers here. He has completed over 1,000 successful passes. Something I've only really think we've seen Tielemans do for Villa this season. Has got the 2 assists from that defensive midfield role as well as the goal, as you can see above there. Dribble success ratio isn't the best in the world, 42.3%. That's really not what he's going to be in the team to do, is it? Look at the touches, really, really good. 30 successful tackles, 53% of them won. Wins 60% of his duels. All of these are in the green as well, which means he's doing the right things at that position. 35 aerial duels won. He wins 60% of said aerial duels. He's having a really good season. I think he could be a bit of a secret weapon. He's only 23 as well. Only 23. So we jumped straight into Enzo's stats because I was a bit sad about the fact we might have to sell Jacob Ramsey. But you've seen he's actually doing really, really well. Valencia were in a relegation battle. They got a new manager. I think they're now 2 points off of European qualification. Now, there's a lot of talk that Villa wouldn't be too mad at loaning Enzo Barrenechea back out, possibly even trying to look at a sale for him because he's played so well. He's impressed so many people at Valencia this season. The goal, the 2 assists, he does play a bit more of a defensive centre midfield role. But I just don't think there's any reason to send him back out on loan. He's not on a fantastic amount of money in terms of high amount of money. So the money isn't an issue. He's 23, he'll be 24 by the start of next season. And he's impressed so many people. I think we have to give him a chance in that double pivot role. We have to. Defensively, you've seen the stats. He's a very, very good and capable player. I think he should be in and around the starting lineup for me. At the club, we need more midfielders. We need legs in midfield. And he's done so well. When a player does that well on loan, I think they've earned a chance to be in the starting lineup at their, or not even the starting lineup, but a chance to be at the starting lineup at their parent club. And he has done that, and he's done it very, very well. And for me, he should be in that squad for next season. Then we'd have our last player of the video, and it is Leander Dendoncker. How's he done in Belgium, lads? And last, but very, very much least, Leander Dendoncker, 2 goals and an assist. Not done too bad, but it is the Belgian league. We shouldn't be really looking in too much to that. And you know what? If I go through his stats, they all look really, really good. So I'm just going to shut my eyes, just scroll around a bit for you. There you go. Have a look at his stats. I'm going to scroll around for you. I'm just going to ignore how good they are. Get rid of him. And yeah, not terribly, but we know he is not a Premier League calibre player. I think Anderlecht do have an option to buy him for a set fee. Please take it. Please take it and take him off of us. Let's get him off the wage bill. Let's not. Who are we kidding? He is never getting in this Aston Villa team again. Doesn't fit in Emery's style because he's not fantastic with the ball at his feet. So let's just cut our losses, get rid of him, get a little bit of money in and reinvest it elsewhere. And there you have it. There is the completed tier list of Aston Villa chopping block midfielders. Let's have a quick run through what we are going to do. We're going to sell Coutinho, Buendia, Jacob Ramsey for a lot of PSR money. and Leander Dendoncker. We're going to bring Marcus Asensio back to the club on loan. We're 50-50 on Kamara. I'd love to be a solid keep, but that contract issue is very worrying. And why has it not been resolved as of yet? But getting a new contract for Kamara would feel like a new signing, so let's hopefully get that secure, because then that would leave us with Kamara, Youri Tielemans, Ross Barkley, Amadou Onana, John McGinn and Enzo Barrenechea at the club, as well as Marcus Asensio. It means that you wouldn't really have to invest too much more in that midfield. Perhaps you could even just promote a couple of the youth players, and that is a good 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in just for those 3 centre midfield slots. That is good enough to play in 4 competitions, and that is what I would do. So if you are enjoying the content, guys, leave a like, subscribe down below. We're going to be doing the forwards next, and then after that there's a couple of special ones. Then we're going to be going through my big dream summer transfer video, so stick around for all of those. I'll see you guys soon. Up the Villa.